is Arlene, and I'm going to show you today how I recently finished the C2C blanket, or the corner to corner blanket. It's a square blanket that is, it's the same size on all four sides of the square. It's a perfectly square blanket, and what you do is you work on it from the start of a triangle into a square. And it sounds a little crazy, but it's the easiest thing that you can crochet. I'll show you one of the corners. This is how one of the corners look, and this is where you start. And this is not actually the corner that I started with. This is the corner I started with. And this is the first piece right here. And then you build two, and then it gets bigger and bigger, and you start here and you sort of work back and forth like this. And the blocks are showing the stitches opposite from each other. They're going, and you're building on, you have a chain, and then you have 3 double crochets, and then you're building on that chain that's on the side. And it's a really fun blanket to make, so keep up with me and we're going to have fun together. I'm going to show you, this is what this first piece is going to look like. I'm going to start it over for you to show you how I started. Okay, so we started with a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And what you're going to do is, by the way, you can do this with any size yarn that you want, and any size hook that yarn requires. So you can use any, the size needle you're using really doesn't matter. So we're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook, which means you're going to leave these 2 chains, you're going to leave these 2 unoccupied, and you're going to put it in there. Okay, and then the last 2 you're going to put a double crochet. So your beginning is going to look sort of like this. This is a chain, and this is 3 double crochets right here. So then we're going to increase, which means we're going to do another chain 6. And we're going to repeat the same thing again. You're going to leave these 2 stitches out, right? That way you'll know exactly where you're going to put your needle. And you're going to double crochet in that 4th chain. And then you're going to double crochet in the last 2. And that's how you increase. So now I have these 2 pieces, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to put my needle inside that chain that I made, and I'm going to slip stitch and connect it like that. Then I'm going to chain 3, and I'm going to double crochet 3 times inside this chain. And there's my increase. So now I have 1, 2, and 3 blocks. And this block here, this is the one we started with. We have 3 blocks, so we're increasing now. Our blanket is getting bigger. So you see how quickly this blanket can grow? So now we need another row. This is row 1, this is row 2, and now we're going to do row 3. Chain 6, and you repeat the same thing again. One, 2, and 3. So now we're going to flip this over and we're going to connect it to this block right here. And now we're starting another row. Chain 3, and we're going to put 3 more double crochets in here in that chain. And then when we finish doing that, we're going to connect it to this one. And now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to put 3 double crochets in this one. And look how our corner is growing. This is our corner right here. And this is row 1, this is row 2, this is row 3. And then we're going to increase again because there's nowhere else to go here. So we're going to make another increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to start our next row. Hold these 2 here. Spend too much time counting. You could just aim at the at the third one from the last. So now your little increase has to hang on to something, right? So we're going to flip it over and we're going to slip stitch it onto that last one you made. And now we have our increase for our next row right here. So right here where you slip stitched, we're going to make our next block. Chain 3, and we're going to put 3 double crochets inside there. Just like that. And then we're going to connect it to this block. Chain 3, and we're going to build another block right here. So we have our block, so now we're going to connect it to this block right here. Slip stitch, chain 3, and now we're going to make another block. And there's our next row. So now we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 rows. So now we want our 5th row, and you're going to continue doing this. You're going to continue increasing until you get this side right here or this side right here, the length that you want it. So if you want to make a 38-inch blanket, 38 square inch blanket, then you're going to make this until you're going to keep increasing with the chain 6 until your blanket reaches 38 inches on this side. Once that happens, it's going to be 38 inches all the way around. All the sides are going to be 38 inches. So that's probably an easier way to explain it. So we're going to chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to do our increase. And then we're going to chain in the last 2. And we're going to turn this around, and we're going to slip stitch it and build our next block. So we have our chain, and then we have our 3 double crochets, and we're going to attach it to this one. And then we're going to build our next block. And then we're going to attach it here and build our next block. And then we're going to attach it here and build our next block. Okay, so there we have our next row. And you see how our blanket is growing. We started with 1 block, then 2 blocks, then 3 blocks, then 4 blocks. Now we have 5 blocks. So we want to keep increasing. See, our blanket is growing. You see how our edge is growing longer, block by block. This is 1 block, this is 2 blocks, this is 3 blocks, 4, and this is 5. So we're going to keep increasing our blanket until we get a decent sized blanket. This you can make it for a big bed, or you can do it, they make fascinating baby blankets because you can use up your scrap yarn and you can make quick baby blankets. So this is excellent. Okay, so now we're going to double crochet in that 4th chain, and we're going to double crochet in the last 2. And another increase is made, and we're going to flip this one over and slip stitch it there, chain 3, and build our next block. And then we're going to slip stitch it here, chain 3, and build our next block. Slip stitch it here, chain 3, and build our next block. Let's move this up a little bit. We're going to slip stitch it here, chain 3, and build our next block. This one sort of gets in the way a little bit. Just fold it down until you finish crocheting. And we're done. And then we're going to slip stitch it here and build our next block. Now after we finish our square and get it the size that we want it, we want to start building the other end of the blanket, which means that instead of increasing, you want to decrease. So when we start decreasing, let's suppose this is the size you want your blanket. So we're going to start decreasing, and what you do is, this is the block that you want to start decreasing on. So instead of chaining 6 and building another block, what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1. You're going to turn your work around, and inside these stitches you're going to slip stitch your way over to this end right here. Just slip stitch your way over there, and one more inside that last stitch, and you're going to start building your next block on this end right here instead of over here. Okay, now we're going to make our block here. and we're going to slip stitch it right here like this. So now our blanket is going to start squaring off. See that? We're going to start closing this end and flattening this end down. It's going to start building, it's going to start growing here this way. So let's see here. So now we're going to slip stitch it here and chain 3. One more double crochet, and we're going to slip stitch on this one, chain 3, and we're going to slip stitch here, chain 3, and slip stitch, chain 3, okay, so now when you get to the other end, you're going to slip stitch it there, and you're going to chain 1, you're going to turn around, and you're going to slip stitch your way over to the inside here. There we go. So now we're going to chain 3 here, and you see, I'll show you the ends again. See, this is getting flat now, and all of these little zigzag spaces you see here, they're all going to get filled in with blocks, and then your blanket is going to start squaring off. So we're going to do our chain, and we're going to build our block. Instead of doing the increase over here, we're going to do our block in here. And slip stitch. And slip stitch. And slip stitch. Okay, so this is the block we want to slip stitch in last, because we already slip stitched through this one. You can feel the edge is a little thick. That's how you can tell that was your last block that you slip stitched through, because it has double stitching. You see the stitches here on this side, and then you see them here on this side, and it's going to feel a little thick on the edge. It's going to feel different from this one. So now you're going to slip stitch there, and you're going to chain 1, and you're going to turn your work around, and you're going to slip stitch your way over here. Now you're going to build your block here. So now you've built a slip stitch right here, you have a chain here, and you have a slip stitch here. And this is going to be a chain. And it's going to be like that, on, off, on, off. That's how it's going to look. So this one gets slip stitch into this one, and we're going to build here our next block. Okay, so now you get to see how it's closing up. See how it's getting flat here, and it's getting flat here, and eventually these two will be filled in. All of these will be filled in. So we finished that block. We're going to slip stitch here. And slip stitch here. And see, this is the last one we slip stitched in. So now you chain one, and turn around, and you slip stitch your way back. The simple way of doing this also is getting a stitch marker. Once you finish slip stitching here, put your stitch marker here, and that way you'll know that's where you last left off. So now we're going to make our next block right here. And we're going to slip stitch in this one. And then we're going to slip stitch in this one. And this was the last one we slip stitched in. So now you want to chain one. So you see how we have another chain? So we have slip stitching here, we have a chain here, we have slip stitching here, and we have a chain here. So now you're going to turn around and you're going to slip stitch your way so that you can fill in that last space right here. What are we doing? We're slip stitching. And now you're going to build a block here. And you're going to slip stitch it here. And there's your square. Right there. You're done. So now you have a little Barbie house doll blanket. Okay, so we're just going to chain one, secure that, and you can fasten off. And this blanket makes such a nice edging that you might not even need an edge for your blanket, but you can. You can use an edge for your blanket. Where you normally would chain three, that's where you're going to change your color. You take your new color. You start your loop here. This is the easiest way to change colors. The official way that they say to change colors is it's different. I also have a demonstration of it in one of my other videos, but we're going to do it the easy way. So you're going to chain. Oops, it's not turning out so easy, is it? You're going to do your chain, so your slip stitch, chain three. You're going to make your block. So that's 3 stitches there. We're going to slip stitch here, chain 3, your next block here, and we're going to slip stitch in this one, and this is where we have to decrease, so we're going to turn around, slip stitch, so when you get right here, you made your stripe, right? So when you get right here, you fasten off on this one, and just like you did, I showed you this one, you're going to attach your new color. Or if you want to do this color again, you're going to attach this color. I'll use that as an example. Fasten off on this one. And we're going to start a new row with this one. And this is where you make your new block. Slip stitch here, slip stitch here, this is our decrease, so we're going to chain 1 and turn around and slip stitch our way to the middle, and this is where we're going to make our last block. Slip stitch here, and our corner is done, and we change colors. How cool is that? So yeah, they're done. Fasten off. And your C2C blanket is done. Thank you for watching.